This case took place in Campbell County, Kentucky, in the early morning hours of May 17, 2005. Amy Bosley frantically called 911, reporting that an intruder had broken into her home and shot her husband, Robert Bosley. She sounded panicked, telling the dispatcher that she and her husband had been sleeping when she heard noises. She claimed that when she got up to check, she saw a shadowy figure running through the house before hearing gunshots. The call was chaotic, filled with screaming and confusion, and within minutes, police arrived at the Bosley home. The Bosleys lived in a large, secluded cabin in the woods. Robert Bosley, a successful roofing contractor, was known in the community for his hard work and thriving business. His wife, Amy, helped manage their finances and took care of their 2 children. From the outside, they seemed to have a perfect life. But as police arrived and began their investigation, things didn't seem to add up. Upon entering the home, officers found Robert Bosley dead in the bedroom. He had been shot multiple times at close range. The scene was gruesome. Blood covered the bed, the walls, and the floor. But what stood out to detectives was the lack of any signs of forced entry. Nothing appeared stolen, and there were no obvious signs of a struggle outside the bedroom. Amy told police she had hidden in the bathroom with their children when she heard the gunshots. She described the intruder as a shadowy figure, but she couldn't provide any details about what he looked like. Police began to question whether her story made sense. How could an unknown intruder enter the home, kill Robert, and then disappear without taking anything? The community was in shock. Robert Bosley was well-liked, and many couldn't believe someone would want to kill him. At first, police considered the possibility of a burglary gone wrong. But as they continued their investigation, they uncovered troubling details about the Bosleys' life behind closed doors. Robert's roofing business had been very successful, but financial records showed that things were not as stable as they seemed. The Bosleys were in serious debt, and the business was struggling. Investigators found that Amy had been handling the finances, and upon closer examination, they discovered she had embezzled hundreds of thousands of dollars from the company. She had been using the money to support a lavish lifestyle, vacations, expensive clothes, and luxury items that they couldn't afford. Robert had no idea how bad their financial situation had become. Investigators learned that he had recently started looking deeper into the company's accounts. This led them to believe that Amy had a powerful motive for wanting him dead. If Robert found out what she had done, he would likely divorce her, leaving her to face financial ruin and possible legal consequences. Forensic evidence further contradicted Amy's story. The gun used in the murder was found in the home, but there were no signs of anyone breaking in or escaping. Police also found gunshot residue on Amy's hands, suggesting that she had fired the weapon herself. Surveillance cameras in the area showed no sign of a suspicious person entering or leaving the property that night. Everything pointed back to Amy. During questioning, Amy maintained her story, insisting that an unknown intruder was responsible. But as evidence mounted against her, the truth became harder to deny. The prosecution argued that Amy had carefully planned the murder to make it look like a home invasion. She wanted to get rid of Robert before he uncovered her financial fraud. They believed she had waited until he was asleep, then shot him multiple times, making sure he wouldn't survive. Amy was arrested and charged with murder. In court, prosecutors laid out the evidence showing that Amy had the means, motive, and opportunity to kill her husband. Facing overwhelming proof, Amy ultimately took a plea deal. She pleaded guilty to murder in exchange for a reduced sentence of 20 years in prison. The case shocked the community. People couldn't believe that a woman who seemed to have it all would go to such lengths to cover up her financial crimes. Her 2 children, who had lost their father, were now left without their mother as well. As investigators pieced together Amy's financial fraud, they discovered that she had been forging Robert's signature on business checks and moving money between accounts to cover her tracks. She had been doing this for years, making it appear as though the business was profitable when, in reality, it was drowning in debt. By the time Robert began asking questions, Amy was in too deep. It was also revealed that Amy had purchased the gun used in the murder just weeks before the crime. This contradicted her claim that an unknown intruder had brought the weapon. Investigators theorized that she had planned the murder long before Robert started looking into the finances. Friends and family members of the Bosleys were left heartbroken and confused. Many had seen Amy as a devoted wife and mother. They couldn't understand how she could kill her husband in cold blood. Some speculated that she had panicked, fearing that Robert would leave her once he discovered the truth. Others believed she was motivated purely by greed. In prison, Amy Bosley has maintained a relatively low profile. She has not spoken publicly about the case, and her children have since moved on with their lives, trying to heal from the trauma of losing both parents. The story of Amy and Robert Bosley remains a tragic tale of deception, greed, and murder. This case serves as a reminder that financial struggles can push people to desperate measures. Instead of seeking help or admitting her mistakes, Amy chose the most extreme solution possible, one that ultimately led to her downfall. Robert Bosley never saw it coming, and his tragic death left a lasting impact on those who knew him. The Bosley case remains one of the most chilling examples of a spouse turning against their partner for financial gain. It's a case that continues to be discussed in true crime circles, serving as a cautionary tale of what happens when lies and deception spiral out of control.